What's up guys, it's Drac. We've been doing a video every day in December, and Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays to you. We're launching this one on the big day. I hope that you got all the prezzies you were excited for under your tree. And on the off chance that you got something foam flinging variety that you weren't super exuberant about, just remember that you can always cut it up, modify it, integrate it, turn it into something cool that you do like. You're on the right channel with all the right stuff in place to do so. Why is my dog? Jinx, do you want to say Happy Holidays? Come here. That's a good Jinxie, hey. Alright, so Jay wants to wish you guys a merry holly and bright as well. This one's going to be pretty interesting. Bobo's done this for a few different creators who have these web stores, and as of this year, we're a creator that has a web store, which is kind of crazy how much growth it's experienced in such a short amount of time. But I wanted to do a tour. We're like in the middle of moving some stuff, but I realized that we're always going to be in the middle of moving some stuff, so we just have to kind of do it, and this was a wonderful holiday excuse to crank this one out and just kind of show you guys what it looks like over here on a general day. So everything's sort of zoned out. We're going to let Jinx back down to rock and roll. This is sort of a general use table. You can see right now I've been really into crypto recently, so I'm building a rig. These are R580s? I think so. I think these are R580s. They're a pretty good cost to hash rate thing. Anyway, this isn't a video about crypto. We just built a bunch of Prusa Mark IIIs. We're waiting on Prusa Minis to come in. The Prusa Minis are a real kind of crapshoot, so we're not super excited about the Prusa Minis because it seems like they either work really well or they don't. I'm pretty convinced that the Penda Plus thing is like some sort of bug fix that they're pretending is an upgrade, but theoretically the new ones should all have Penda Pluses. Of the two that I have running in here, only one is currently functional, but 3D printers, everybody who says like, oh, I have 25 3D printers, realistically, they have like 20 3D printers because they're always down or they're not optimized or they're just not being fed filament at any given point in time. But this is realistically our shipping department. It's got all of these boxes. We get a lot of throughput in. We get stuff from suppliers. We get stuff from Amazon. We get materials, etc. I like to recycle as much of our stuff as I possibly can. When we don't, we keep all of our Uline stuff over here. So this is where all the bubble mailers come from, our boxes for stamps and what have you. We're still using a inkjet printer to print our labels, which everyone tells me should be my next upgrade. We really need a dedicated label printer for our current output. This is half pantry, half like cool, fun stuff. I don't know, there's some SOE gear over here. At some point we're planning on, making a video about the goofball sunglasses. We still have a few Nix cages from this last run in stock. This one's 620. We're closing in pretty quick on 700. And then we still have some tooth and nail minis. Those are available both through our web store, which is, I guess that's a good place to start. This is the foamproshop.com initial tour. And so obviously a lot of the things that you see today are either available right now on that web store, which will be down in the description box below, or they're going to be. The audio on this is a little weird because in order to kind of walk through, I can't be hooked up to the lapel mic, so you get what you get. If you want to come in here, this is an interesting case. We had to add power to this room through a circuit. This room was not powered, so this is currently the lights. If you notice, it's kind of janky. The lights are powered through a daisy chain operation, which comes down and in and around into a circuit that we could hook them up to. Same thing with the printers. So we have a few different Prusa Mark IIIs. We actually have pretty much every version from the last little while. This one's a Mark II. It's currently down. This one's a Mark III. It's functional, but we need to put them back in the enclosures. The enclosures are sitting over here. That's for ABS so that we can do some of our cages in it. It looks like this one's working on a Spectrum muzzle. This one's working on Equinox sights. These ones on the top row are all Mark IIIs. Like I said, our minis are down here. This one is being a little janky with some of its min-temp stuff, and then these are just not. The minis are really weird. Theoretically, they're designed for farming the way that we do it, and they're just not giving us what we need. These are both CR10 Pros. They're pretty good, but right now, as we're running our 4-stacks, we're getting all this stringy stuff going on, so that involves either sitting and filing, but realistically we're just gonna dial in the G code and run new ones. We have a few spamps that are ready to ship. Some of them are like old Halloween ones with the fade, some of them are just generic. A few of these are special. This one's going to my sister-in-law pretty soon. Up top are some filaments that we use often. We've got black and gray from Matter Hackers. We just got another order that's crazy. We've got our exclusive filaments. We have gunmetal gray, which is our new gray. We're trying to use up all of the old gray before we move into gunmetal. And then we have what we call pumpkin orange, which is sort of a sparkly, kind of semi-translucent orange that has a really nice finish. This guy looks like it's done. A couple more Mark IIIs. This is actually a Mark III with upgrades, just sitting in the corner over here. But that's where most of the Pruses are. Bubble wrap's really weird. You have to order it a lot at a time, and we only use one of these about every couple of weeks. So we have to, there's just periods of time where this is sitting here on the love seat. It's currently a little dark over here because we have not added our second bar light thing yet. We just sort of work during the daytime on this side. This is sort of cold storage for some projects we're working on. Really looking forward to making some thermal detonators, a bunch of other stuff. This is where some of our patches sit, including the Patreon patches that'll be going out after Christmas because we don't want to lose a lot of them. Then just some PC, building components, etc. and so forth. We actually have plenty of Mark IIs. We ordered a few of these. Some of these are already spoken for and have labels on them, but I think we have 4 if you're looking to get a Mark II. We still have some. We're selling them as bundles right now. And then just odds and end filament. These shelves are just completely full of filament. We use filamentum for a lot of stuff. So this is just an entire row of filamentum double stacked. And then just a variety of different colors from projects that we've used in the past. Jake organizes those by color. This one's pretty cool. There'll be a full video on this on the future, but this is our exclusive Warlander holster for the Mark II, and that is going to be just oh so nice, oh so fine, but we're not ready to launch those or talk about them yet. I'll walk through this way with you guys. You can see we have some tools sitting here because we're just quickly running out of space. And then as we come through here, all these other doors are living quarters, but in here is our retrofitted study that's become my office. It is a complete mess. But this is where all of that filming happens. If Pat walked into the room, you guys would be able to see a pretty traditional layout. I've got a couple of trophies on the side here that we don't talk about. They're just sort of on the, in the background because I really dig them. This is Jinx's tiny influencer shirt. It makes me very happy. I think I have one of the best patch collections in the hobby. I actually ran out of space up here, so I've moved down into here. Some of these aren't hobby patches. They're just from people in the hobby. So like obviously Elvira has nothing to do with Nerf, but I love her, and it was a fine gift. Someday we'll do a full video on this. It'll be really cool. And then if we kind of parse over here, so current projects sit kind of on the table and we film them. Part that you guys don't usually see is over here where we film. This is sort of my office setup. It's a very traditional YouTuber setup. These are all curved monitors, which is pretty cool. Makes you feel a little bit like Tony Stark. But I really like vaporwave aesthetics. We just finished building my new rig down here. That's pretty cool. Other upgrades are just that, you know, we got a lot going on over here. The stream setup is a Logitech webcam and then a Blue Yeti for my microphone. We use a lav mic for all of the usual video work, but this is why I sound pretty decent on stream. Pay no attention to all of my snacks. I run mostly on a combination of the blood of my enemies, caffeine, and sugar. But this is where we do all of our client work and stuff like that. Hopefully the office upgrade is coming soon because this is still very much like our old desk. This is my original monitor. There's a lot that could be done over here. But moving on, I'll take you to the actual heart of the operation where most of the stuff gets made. Let's go to the workshop. So we completely refinished the basement here, and that's where a lot of the magic happens. There's a lot of echo in the the stairwell here. I leave the helmet here so that every time I come down to work, I remember how nice it was to have some shred of personal privacy back in the day. But as we come down, you guys can see that the workbench is messy. After all, a cluttered desk is a sign of a cluttered mind. But this is where I do a lot of my builds. We've got a couple of Caliburn orders in progress over here. And then this is it was originally a G-code PC. It's currently just a a crypto rig. It's running 2 different full-size graphics cards. Over here is where I keep a lot of the tactical gear and darts. It's also where the chronograph sits, because as we walk through here, we get into kind of our main outdoor filming area. But today, the weather is really, really yucky, so we're not going to be doing that. Southeast Nerf Club vinyl is just pretty cool. Gotta represent. Other than that, there's not a whole lot of crazy going on over here. We just have some jokey jokes, our Home Depot shopping list right now. Over here we have Thunderdome DVDs for when people visit. We try and give them a disc. Over here we have a couple of items. This was a pretty big upgrade. This means that we can just tell the workshop that we want to listen to music, and when we're listening to music or we're dremeling, like, that's a really nice distraction. Then we have our Guinness World Record and our silver play button. Back when silver play buttons still came like shadow boxed and nice. I'm kind of bummed. I feel like if I ever get to gold play button, and I don't even know if that'll happen, but if I ever do, I really don't like the design of the new ones, so that's kind of sour grapes. As we come through, here's some prototypes, some other stuff. Over here is sort of like, this is the best stuff on the wall. Really just projects that I'm very proud of, or things that I have been given that I'm really like, I think are very aesthetic, very cool. As we kind of go over, we get more history. We've got 2 FA24 builds, which are both very special. They're probably the jewels of my collection. We got The Last Word, which went like crazy viral when we posted that back in the day. Over here are kind of some flywheels that we don't design, and then flywheel cages that we don't design. So we've got everything from the number 13 Tsunami from Containment Crew, along with like prototypes from back when Dr. Snickers was still making stuff, and a backup chronograph, which is nice to have. As we come through here, the lighting gets significantly worse. This is where I keep a lot of my art from my department at Dragon Con. I really love Dragon Con, no surprise there. And then in here, it's just storage. This is like all new in box storage. We use these for gifts, we use these for videos. A couple of them are like low-key kind of weird investments. Like we've got the Transformers exclusives over here, and we have a bunch of Sentinels exclusively to make Van James jealous. Other than that, it's like there's some stuff on the shelf that's like weird stuff that people have sent us over the years, and just like cool stuff. I don't know, like we just have blasters that we haven't necessarily needed for videos yet, but a lot of them are pretty cool. And it's nice to have climate-controlled storage for some of your various treasures, like Drusilla lives in this box over here, and then I'm trying to think, we've got a bunch of different like bots. These are so cool. This is one of my favorite Nerf things that isn't a Nerf thing. This is an insect, and it's got a turret in the back. It's like way cooler than any Terra Scout, or any of the more modern versions or variations. We have one more storage room. All right, so there's a monster echo in this room, guys. So this is storage for videos and projects that we kind of have in progress, or just like if you want to make a top 5 video or what have you, it's helpful to be able to find things pretty easily. Some of them are Sterilites, some of them are just on shelves. We have way too many Hailfires. The closet is an absolute disaster of just cold storage. Over here, this is some of the stuff that's for sale over on foamproshop.com. A few of them are like completed things, and then this is about half of my crossbow collection up top. Someday we'll do a complete video on the crossbow collection, but it's one of my my favorite things in the hobby. I really, really like the old school 95 crossbow. Down here is just a bunch of cool stuff. We've done sort of a tour like this before, so I'm like kind of getting weird memories of like things that we've talked about before, but I have a couple of Uzinator's. It's my favorite Super Soaker of all time. Someday I should do just an honest review of the Uzinator. The thing that's really cool, and I don't think a lot of people have these anymore, is I have plenty of new in package reloads for the Uzinator, and those are not easy to come by. And then I've got all of my airsoft stuff up top, and some of it bleeds into over here. Down here is really just mostly like reloading for 50 cal and stuff like that. I've got some ammo storage down there, and then a lot of my real steel stuff like my ear prot, various pistols and what have you sits over here. But the focus of this video is really on the hobby and what we do kind of as a store and production, as opposed to like some of my other hobbies. We've talked about crypto, now we're talking about real steel. All we have to get into is fermenting, and we'll have completed the trifecta of fun, nerdy hobbies. All right, so past the wonderful Kate Beckinsale movie poster, we have a bunch of paint storage. This is for various projects that Nerfomania and I built that way back in the day. Some of that paint is that old, which is kind of crazy. And then in here, we have another room that we had to run dedicated electric to. And this is where we do a lot of the CR10 3D printing. There's 4 CR10s in here. Our Form 2 is in here. It's currently down. And then hilariously, there is the world's worst Ender Mark III over here. So this room is really small. We've got a couple of other 3D printers on the ground in various states of disrepair down here. Again, I think that the Mark III and the CR10 are both really good machines, but nothing is perfect. And when you run thousands and thousands of hours through it, you're eventually going to need to do some maintenance. We have part storage over here, which is very helpful if you're in the middle of a build or doing something quickly and just need a sizing or a reference point for things. Not all parts get made into blasters, so it's nice to have backups. It looks like we were still low on Equinox sites, so we just did a few of those. But that is another one of our printer rooms. We have one more rack of printers in my bedroom that we're not going to fool with. Let's head back up to the studio and I'll kind of collect our end of year thoughts. Alright, so we have a full formal end of year video kind of coming on the 31st to wrap up this whole video every day in December thing, but I did want to do a tour. I kind of wanted to do a tour almost as a time capsule to like ourselves. So I guess in conclusion, we're like really crazy excited about what all happened this year. We never wanted a web store. We kind of got forced into doing a web store. Change is nature and evolution is progress. And here we are with a web store with multiple employees helping out on it. And most importantly, it wouldn't be possible without you guys. We have gotten way more orders. A perfect example of this, I get emails from Shopify, I think every quarter, where they're like, hey, you're in the top 1% of stores that launched at the same time as you. And like, that's mind-boggling. But then when you think about it, it's not that crazy. I have an incredibly loyal audience of people who want to make the things the way that I make them. And then more than any of that, like, it's just a terrific gift that you guys are supporting the web store, picking up the t-shirts, doing all this crazy stuff. I love seeing people do mods with our parts. That's incredibly heartwarming. I love getting to reciprocate some of this distributor relationship that we've been benefiting from with some of our Kickstarters in the past. I like getting to carry other people's products. I like getting to pay licensing checks to brilliant designers in our hobby. Like, it's just a really, really cool, different take on running a Nerf business as opposed to what we've been doing so far, which is mostly pure corporate consulting and then, you know, the creative side over here on YouTube. This is like a happy medium somewhere in between, and just like the sheer joy that comes from getting to work with some of your very best friends on a daily basis is just something that you can't put a price tag on. And so that's pretty incredible. We currently have realistically 3 employees. It's closer to 4.5 if you take into account all the collaboration and help. But I'm excited to see what happens in 2021. I have no idea what the next year is going to bring. I really can't tell you how much it means that you guys check out the web store, you guys make the occasional purchases. I hope that we have a couple of new t-shirt designs coming in the near future. I'd like to start doing those in limited batches. We're gonna figure out some stuff with patches. Just like, there's 100 different ideas in my head right now, and the biggest struggle is figuring out what order to do them in. And that is a wonderful, wonderful place to be in as a creative, entrepreneurial type person, or whatever you would call this wild reality that we've stitched together for my friends and I. But bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much. I know that a lot of you guys might be opening some Foam Pro Shop orders for your holiday prezzies, and that's just wonderful. Like, it's so cool that we get to be a part of your holiday tinkerings and holiday joy. So thank you guys so much for that. We look forward to bringing you new stuff. We've got some incredible stuff on the docket, from, you know, shiny things to special holsters to just incredible events that should hopefully be warming back up and spooling back up in 2021. 2020 was really tough for a lot of ways, but it feels like we got to incubate during it, and we're incredibly lucky that we work from home and that, you know, the workshop is all inclusive in this one space so that we could do that safely and keep working and creating for you guys. So we're very grateful for that, and we're super excited to just break out of that shell in 2021. Thanks so much for watching. It's been an incredible year. We're going to finish up strong with a video every day in December. We're going to try and get all 31. Let's go.